YouTube friends and fam. It is, oh my gosh, June 28th. Welcome to the channel. I know I don't introduce myself very often in these videos. I think I'm maybe a little too casual. My name is Sarah. Welcome to Growing with Sarah. I grow in a zone 4. Some say zone 5. The map says zone 5, but I plant zone 4. So that just changed when the map changed, whatever, a couple years back now. We are about to get very hot here, and I'm getting some chores done that I have been putting off. We'll do just a quick scan of the houseplants, which are all, with the exception of my white princess here, loving being on the porch. White princess, struggle bus. Not sure what's going on with her, but she is not happy out here. So I may end up just moving her back in. We'll take a look at the hanging baskets. They look beautiful. I need to replace, I had a blue wave petunia there that needs to get replaced. Obviously this one is just not having it. This girl looking gorgeous. These grow boxes, I went and got some red begonias because the other begonias that I had rooted and put in here did not take. The only one that took was this one, so we're leaving that. And that is the same begonias that I have in my hanging baskets. They are proven winners. Let's see, proven winners, Surefire Cascade Red. I had a few that were a little bit leggy, and I rooted them, which they all rooted really well, but when I planted them out, only that one survived. Down in here, it's my little arrow plant. These are so pretty. It's just such a lovely little foliage plant. I have begonias in here that are just not thriving, and I'm not sure why. Begonias really should just do their thing out here. But even this one here is thriving, but the others are just, I don't know if it's too wet, but I don't know why it would be too wet. The lobelia in all of my baskets doing gorgeous, doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Oh, let's see. Not a whole lot of change in the shade garden. I haven't added anything. I do have a few sage, hosta, bare root coming that I'm excited to have. And I'm seeing that the primrose that I put on the border here, the yellows have been in bloom almost since I planted them. And I was like, oh God, are these all yellow? I wanted a little bit of a mix, and I'm starting to see some pink pop up here, and some white down here with the yellow center. So pretty. And then there's a nice rich bluey purple here. This one is really pretty. So I don't know how much longer the primrose will be in bloom. We've been very, very cool this spring up until, I'm going to say today. Today we are going from early spring type weather to full-fledged summer type weather just in the blink of an eye. So in the past 10 days, I don't think we've had a high even above 72. And our lows have been down in the 40s every morning, overnight. And we are going to be at 85 degrees today for a high, with lows now starting to go into the 60s overnight. And we're going to have some highs in the 90s over the next 10 days. So I have some concerns. I do have some concerns for like my kitchen garden and my annual plants, my plants that are in pots, because those guys are just gonna struggle. It's just harder for plants that are not in the ground to, and for annuals, I think, to really survive big fluctuations in temperature like that. So I'm watering. I've got my little oscillating sprinkler going in the back for the kitchen garden. Give everybody a really good soak this morning, even though we are supposed to also have thunderstorms coming with this weather change. It's hit or miss where I am, whether or not we're going to get that rain, because we're so close to the lake, but still kind of far enough away. I'm about quarter to maximum a half mile from the lake. And so that water, the big, it's Lake Superior. And so that can have a real impact on the weather, and whether or not we're going to get that rain. In the winter, we tend to get more of the snow because the lake is warmer, and then the air temperature, you get the lake effect snow. But in the summer, it can actually pull the rain so that it stays out over the lake. So it's really hit or miss. So I'm not going to rely on Mother Nature. If I water everything really well and we still get thunderstorms, it's not going to hurt anything because it's going to be 95, 96. We really have some high temperatures forecasted for the next 7 days. So it's not going to hurt it. It's not going to hurt a damn thing for it to get some rain and some supplemental water from me in my kitchen garden. Also, I am doing all the things you shouldn't do when you're coming onto a heat wave or a big transition. I am out here trying to get all of my clearance plants in the ground today. I've got a big chore ahead of me. So I have some echinacea, I have speedwell, I have a bunch of those speedwell kind of spread all out in here. I have this blue-eyed grass, which I had never heard of before, but clearanced out and it's good in my zone. And I want some grassy texture in here. I certainly have like the foliage from the daffodils that give a little bit of grassy texture in here, but it's kind of a bummer, right? Like those things are starting to die back. You can see a little bit right there. They're starting to die back, and that's what they're doing all year long, is dying back. So as much as in the beginning of spring it gives me a nice sort of grassy texture in here, it fails as the year goes on, as the season goes on. So I have just a couple of those because I wasn't really sure how they're going to do, but they are rated to zone 4. So that's here's my garden design philosophy or plan. Okay, I buy things that I like the way they look. Well, first thing I think about before I buy something is, do I like the way it looks? Am I interested in the plant? Does it grow in my zone? Is it cheap? That's about it, occasionally I will spend a lot of money on a plant, but for the most part, I'm a clearance shopper, I'm a sale shopper, and those are the 3 things that I think about before I purchase a plant, before I put the money in. I'm not really thinking about how it's going to fit into my garden. I want my garden to be just free-flowing. That's my personality, and as much as I love a really beautifully manicured garden and all that sort of thoughtful design with the layering and all the da-da-da-da-da, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and if that's your style, I applaud that. I think it's gorgeous and I appreciate it 100%, but it's just not what makes me happy in my garden. So my gardens are kind of messy and just full of, I don't have a color scheme for the most part and all of that. I just pop it in. I like it. will live in my zone, and it's in an affordable price range for me. So that's how I do it. I do have a bunch of this Speedwell that's gonna go in here. It's all blue. I was looking for white. I really like the white Wands Veronica, but it didn't fall into the affordability category of my garden design, my garden philosophy. This one is a little bit different. It looks to be bigger and a little bit looser than the other ones that I have. This one is from Better Homes. I'm not sure what the name is. They always stick it under the price tag on the clearance. I'm not sure what that's about. But so this one's going to go here where I have a larger space available, and then I just have them kind of popped in all over the place. Some things I will keep in sort of like little clumps. Like I have the cone flowers kind of. So I have one here. These are all 3 Cheyenne Spirit. So I have one here, and then I'm going to pop one back there, and I'm going to pop one here that's kind of, horizontal to this. So I definitely don't think in straight lines in my garden, but I do kind of think in groups, if that makes sense. But sometimes I don't. I've got the Speedwell here, the Speedwell here, just kind of sprinkled all over. I want that spiky texture throughout this bed. And then I have a ton of Asiatic lilies, of which I have none in my garden right now, of the Asiatic lilies. So I have like 14 Asiatic lilies. They are a mix of pink, orange, and yellow. And those are just gonna, I think, because I already have some Asiatic lilies in here, I think I might put them up the border of this so that we get some pops of color. Even though I do tend to stay cool up this border, I think that it needs some pops of color on the border. And then I also got 6 of these dianthus. I think they're called, oh gosh, I did pull one of these tags down. Let me see, here we go. They're a little damp, so it pulls off easier. Oscar Pink and Purple. So they didn't have any flowers on them, obviously, when I purchased them. But I got them for $3 a piece, which is nice. These are going to go in this front bed here somewhere. I love the dianthus in here. They're spread out all over in here. They just give such a pretty color, and you can cut them back and they'll flush out kind of over and over again for you. So I'm having some thoughts and need some help with this space out here. And I am thinking about now, again, my garden design does not really go with how you're supposed to design a garden, and that is to put in like your anchor pieces like trees and bushes and things like that. This border above right here where my porch is, I want something that comes up just slightly taller than the porch, maybe not huge. Right now I have spireas up there. They're not really doing anything. I'm not overly impressed with them. They've been in there for a few years now, and they just don't cover. They don't like give an anchor back there, but it is a shade spot. So this, like all across that border right there, except for maybe the very corner, just gets morning sun. After that, the sun is up over my house, and that is shade the rest of the day. So, I had some hydrangeas in there originally, the ones that are up the north side here. The lace cap ones were originally here. They didn't do well there. I mean, they did okay, but they just didn't put on a lot of growth. I mean, they were healthy and happy enough, but they weren't really growing. So I need something that I can put back there. And I just don't know what to go with. I thought about maybe a viburnum sort of hedge along here, but viburnum can get pretty out of control, and I don't want that. I would love to have something that has a leaf that turns color in the fall, just to give that fall interest there when everything else in front of here is kind of done. I don't know. And then here, so this space here, so you can almost kind of see in the grass line here where my property line is. I have a nice sort of green space here that I want to have a tree right in here, and nothing big, maybe 10 feet maximum, something decorative, maybe an evergreen. I'm not sure. I was thinking about like a soft serve false cypress here. I know those get like, I think like 6 to 8 feet wide and 8 to 10 feet tall. That could be nice here. I don't want anything that's going to throw a ton of shade because I'm already struggling with light on this north side. I don't know. Unfortunately, in a zone 4, I can't do a dogwood. I'd love to have like a rosy teacups or something along those lines that just is absolutely gorgeous in the spring. But I don't want to spend the money on a plant like that and then have it die because we had a winter where it dropped below 20 below for 2 weeks. So that's kind of what I have to think about there. If anybody has any ideas, let me know. Let's see. Everything's looking good over here. The Sky Dancer Salvia is going over. I'm going to cut it back. I have had sort of hit or miss with reflush on this salvia, so I'm going to cut it back and hope for the best, and maybe it will reflush, maybe it won't. The phlox, this is the early girl, and I'm pretty sure this is princess now that it's open, not flamingo, is starting to open up. This will be my first phlox to have open. I do have more phlox in the front. The Siberian iris are going over. These were really, really pretty here. And then that gives a nice grassy texture here too. The foliage of the Siberian iris is really nice. All iris, really. So these are the lace cap hydrangeas. And I love these. They're like, really have a look of like a true mountain hydrangea look, like a really natural look. And I really enjoy that. You see, I have the bearded iris foliage there. That's practically evergreen. Oh, here we have some of the bowl of fruit yarrow open. Oh, pretty. Oh, and look at this. We got a fresh stem here of the blue sky dancer. So the blue sky dancer salvia started a little bit later than the white, so I'll still have a little bit of color popping out with that. There's a little bit more sticking out. Still trying to get this king tut grass to take off. Yeah, it's doing all right. The Nicotiana is really loving it in these containers. Starting to get a little overbearing for the lobelia and even for the petunias, which is rare. These petunias are gorgeous. And then I have the pistachio over here. Oh God, I just love this so much. That's one that I'll probably grow often. I have space for something back here. I think I'm going to probably pop some lilies in there. I have some bare roots that still need to get in as well. And my philosophy on the heat wave and getting things planted is that things will do better in the ground than they do in their pots through heat waves like that. So even though they'll probably struggle and flop and everything else, they will be happier in the ground. I have a pretty heavy clay soil and it holds moisture and it stays cool. So their roots will be fine even if the upper part of the plant dies back. These lilies are getting ready to pop here, getting close. It will keep those roots nice and cool so the plant can survive. Some lilies here starting to bud up. I don't know what all the lilies are. This, oh gosh, I never remember what this, Echinops or something like that. It's like a false thistle type thing. Is getting ready to put if you don't have this in your garden, I got these at Walmart. It was like a plastic bag buy, and pop them in. Have done nothing for them at all. They're basically a weed. They're like a thistle with their prickly, but the pollinators, so they don't spread. It's the 2 plants that I originally put in, and they've been in here for 4 years now, 4 seasons. Pollinators absolutely love this, and the little heads here they're blue. They're gorgeous, 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 and the pollinators go crazy for them all season long. This pink haze Siberian iris, every time I think it's almost done, it starts to throw out a new bud. So it's not as full as it was when it first started, but I still have a few more buds coming. So I'm happy to be able to enjoy this one a little longer because it's so pretty. It's gorgeous on the corner here. My 2 peony buds are gone. It happens. They die. They go back. Let's see. I was out here. This is the other thing I'm doing that I did that is not recommended in a heat wave. I fertilized. Now this is just fish fertilizer. It's the Alaskan fish fertilizer. I gave all of my annuals in the pots and everything in the kitchen garden a drink of that yesterday. All my dahlias. And I did anything in the pots got like a drink at the root level and a foliar. The food stuff in the kitchen garden got foliar, so I just kind of sprayed it out all over the place. I do have the sprinkler going. I just got this sprinkler this year because I was like, I just have too much to be out here hand watering everything, and decided to go with the sprinkler. Now I know that sprinklers are a bit of a waste of water, but it is a fast way to cover my garden and give everything a good soak. I also don't mind the idea of overhead watering because I live in like a coastal area. It's almost always fairly breezy here. I don't worry about things like powdery mildew or anything like that because we have like a constant breeze here. So watering like this overhead in the morning, which I think it's like 7. Sorry, somebody's already starting their mower though on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Let's go back around here. Get away from that noise a little bit just for a second. With that overhead water, I don't worry about it. Like it's early day. There's going to be a full day of, we have consistent 5 to 10 mile an hour winds here. Usually you can see my flag, always blowing. And then when we have any type of wind coming off of the lake, a little bit stronger, it's just like, it's not unusual for us to have 25, 30 mile an hour winds all day long. So it seems like my neighbor is going to mow their lawn very early on a Sunday, but I think I'll cut this here and then maybe I'll pick back up after I do some planting and show you guys everything in the ground, and once the sprinkler is done in the back, I can do the kitchen garden. Okay, we are back. The lawn mowing is over. The planting is over. We're chilling on the porch, which we got the awning up. I'll go through the kitchen garden. There's Lily.
We are so back.
All right, let's go look at what I planted first, and we'll come up the south side since we didn't. Check this one out. This is some sort of, oh, the pups are out. That's Junebug. This is Guster. He's been on before. They are tied, so they can only go so far with us this morning. But Got some more foxglove popping. Oh no, wait. Some kind of salvia question mark. Okay, I got this in a bare root sale this this summer. Some kind of salvia question mark. We shall see. Oh, this is looking okay. That's foxglove there. This is foxglove. Just the one, but it's gorgeous. Oh, I love foxglove so much. They're so pretty. I was gonna move these bigger Empress Wu hostas because of the cutting of the maple trees, but it looks like they're coming in just fine. They grow really fast. This is a Triloba rudbeckia that somehow made it to this side of the house, and we'll see what it does. There's not much sun over here anymore now with the trees grown in, but oh, Gus is terribly sad that he doesn't get to come with us. Sorry, boy. You gotta stay down there. I'll be around back in a minute. But everything over here is looking nice. I do have a few lilies that come back every year in this area. Sometimes they bloom, sometimes they don't. I believe that one is a double tiger. And then I have one over here that is definitely going to bloom. And this is like a rose lily. It has a big pink bloom on it. We'll get a couple of those. They don't go super strong here because it's so shady, but I leave them because they're pretty and it's a nice little surprise. Okay, let's look at what we planted here. So we got the speedwells popped in throughout. One back there that's looking kind of rough, but they were in their containers for quite a long time. And let's see, I popped this Coreopsis right here. Actually, these are really delicate plants. I broke it a couple of times, so I just stuck the broken pieces in, hoping that they'll root. This is the Cheyenne Echinacea, and there's one right back there as well. This is the one that was already planted in. Let's see, I put 3 orange Asiatic lilies here. Now those are done blooming for the year, but so we'll just have to use our imagination on the Asiatic lilies for next year. One of these did have a scarlet lily beetle on it, so you can see this damage here, this biting and everything. That's the scarlet lily beetle. So I'll have to come out and spray these tonight most likely, or tomorrow morning, because of it's going to be too hot. These are pink Asiatic lilies. These are the Tiny Pearl. The pink ones are called Tiny Pearl. This is rabbit damage. This is deer damage. This is possibly a combination. The orange ones are called Tiny Invader, which I don't know if that's a great name for a plant, but that is what it is called. There's another speedwell in there that's looking rough, but I can come in and trim it up, and they're all fine. They've just been in their containers for too long. Threw that last balloon flower in right there. I was going to put the bigger speedwell right here, but then I read the tag and I realized that it gets about 3 feet tall, and I felt like the Nepeta really takes care of that blue wise in this area, so I didn't want to add more blue. And then I've got the Blue Lake Veronica right here, which I do need to come in and trim back. This will rebloom. You can see it's already getting some new buds on it, so I can come in and just trim that back. So that I felt was enough sort of tall blue over here, and then with the blue that's kind of mixed in throughout here. Very nice. So what I did was I had another speedwell, the blue, so just bringing the blue down this border a little bit more. We have that speedwell there, and I tucked this little, what is this one called? Summer Nights Delphinium right here. It only gets about 18 inches tall, so that'll be a nice little wispy piece in there, and that'll also bring some more blue as these Siberian iris are going out. I also tucked a milkweed in right here. It's just a basic pink milkweed, so that'll be pretty right there. Hopefully that takes. It's not a particularly wet spot. I had 4 orange left and 2 pink, so I did a clump of 2 orange and a pink in front of this hydrangea. Oh, did I tuck anything else in back here? No, but I do have Lady Alice lilies back here that are starting to break through the soil. Those are some bare roots I put in last week. This is where I put the taller Speedwell. So this one is called Skyward Blue. And that'll get about 3 feet tall, which will fit in really nicely right there. And then I put the yellow Asiatic lilies, of which I had 5, in a little horseshoe around this caramel heuchera, which has such gorgeous colors. It does have a lot of yellow in it, but it also has like this peachy orange, and then the underside of the leaves is more of like a pinky sort of salmony color. So I thought that the pop of yellow right here would be nice to sort of bring out the yellow of the heuchera, but also make that reddish tones pop on it a little bit more. And then I did the same clump of 1 pink and 2 orange with the Asiatic lilies here. And that is everything that I put in on this border. And I just had the dianthus left. There's Junie. This is where I dumped all my extra dirt. I have a bunch of low spots in the ground over here. Dog pool. I put the dianthus in over here. I have a bunch of tulips that were in here. They were like fancy tulips, and they come back spotty. So I'm just taking what I was able to dig up and going to stick that someplace else. This may be a little better spot. And just put 3 dianthus here and 3 dianthus down there. This border doesn't get much color. The delphinium here is Magic Fountains, I believe, and that's blue. I do have the clematis. Don't mind that's all the cardboard from the privacy block and the awning. Don't mind my junk. Just gotta get that in someplace. But this clematis, it does give some nice blue color here. There are lilies in here. Siberian lilies, Eileen's Dream back there and over here. Those were just transplanted over here last year though, so we're not seeing any blooms, but definitely have gotten new growth. This just came in this year. This is a Siberian iris as well. This is Solar Energy. And then we have the new Sarah Elizabeth clematis right there that came in this year as well. So that's everything. I moved these 2 dahlias over here because Gus has a ball that's hard plastic that he loves to throw around the yard. It's too big for him to pick up, so it really gets him going, gets his energy out. But if it goes in here, it goes too far for him to reach it on his leash. So I have that blocked off, and I have that blocked off with a dahlia as well. Kitchen garden is looking great. These stock are ones that I got at one of the greenhouses this year, and I cut them back, and they're really coming back. The pink is starting to come out. I can come in here and take out some of these leaves off of the squash, off of the summer squash, and make space for that. You can see we have a little Black Beauty zucchini coming right there. Let's see, this is a yellow summer squash. All of the cauliflower is looking really good, but ask me at the end of this week after we've had all that heat. I have sweet peas in here. These are ones that I bought at a greenhouse because I didn't start any sweet peas this year. And these are ones that are volunteers from last year. You can see the massive growth difference. Here's another one right in here. So I have this trellis in here for those to kind of climb up on that. Again, I'm going to come in and trim out some of these zucchini leaves. Just try to keep those under control. Black Beauty is pretty well behaved as far as zucchinis go. But it doesn't hurt zucchini to have their leaves trimmed up. I have salt and pepper cucumbers on each side of both of these arch trellises, and I have a little bit of chicken wire attached to this all the way up and around, so the sweet peas can grow all the way up and the cucumbers can grow pretty well as also. So I did have like 9 cucumber plants, I think, that I started, and then I threw some seeds in here. You can see one starting to pop up right there. Got another little one popping up next to this guy. They're looking good. They're gonna love the heat. Let's see, I have a couple of, and then the sweet peas are on each side of this. There's a volunteer coming out of the edge here. I don't know if it'll survive or not. It looks rough, but you never know. Then in these corners, I have Oklahoma zinnias. And of course, all the dahlias are looking great now. I'm getting growth on everything, leafing out, looking good. The only issue is keeping the chipmunk out of here. He is persistent. He came in and dug up my Hepet Old Charm, which is small but putting on good leaf growth here, so not too concerned. And then this is the Blonde Ambition that I was talking about last time, just not having a lot of branching, but I had just pinched it, so you can see a lot of this side growth now is getting forced out. Very nice. Tomatoes looking beautiful. I'm not going to go through and do a tomato tour here for you guys this week. We'll wait till we have some actual tomatoes on there a little bit more to sort of call out those varieties. Despite my animal block here with the mesh, did have some bunny getting in here and eating at some of my linen. Zinnias, unfortunately. Everything else looks good, but those few took a hit. So for the green stalks, my intention was to do all bush beans and a little bit of lettuce, and I also have some tip-top nasturtiums in here. But the chipmunk has other plans, so this particular green stalk did survive some places his plans, but basically he just comes in here and digs around and takes out the seeds that I plant and puts in sunflower seeds. And this other green stalk, I had green beans in every single one of these pockets, and he just comes in here and digs around. You can kind of see he just digs all around in there and takes out my seeds. He did not get to my lettuce up here, which is nice. So I have a few little bits of lettuce coming up in there, but I'm gonna have to start my green beans inside. Now we have plenty of time to get more green beans out. It's not an issue. It's not like the tomatoes, where if the tomatoes went back, I don't have time to start from seed, but definitely have plenty of time to start green beans from seed. And we do have one little tomato starting on the Cherokee Carbon right there. Ooh, excited. I'm excited for that. That one came from a greenhouse. It is not started from seed. I have a few, just a couple. This one Amish paste and a Barry's Crazy Cherry that are struggling. And I don't know why. This one just doesn't seem to be. Like you can see, he's just maybe not enough dirt. Maybe if I come in and pile some dirt up around him, he'll do better. But the lower leaves, I got to come in and do a trim because lower leaves are starting to get old here and just be not worth it to keep on. And if they get any kind of little fungus on them or anything like that, they're going to spread it to the rest of the plant. So I'm just coming in and taking those off. I just come in and clear the lower leaves out probably about a foot up on my tomato plants anyways, because they are going to die off. They're older and they're going to die off no matter what. Came in and did a second string for the Florida weave on this grouping of tomatoes. I'm not a fan of the Florida weave. I know that it works really well, but it's a pain in the butt. Honestly, it's a pain in the butt. The strawberries are doing as well as they can, considering the rabbits are eating all their leaves off. I've got stuff caged as well as I can, but same thing with the leeks. Some are doing really, really well. Some are getting terrorized by the rabbits. Whew. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that right now and that I got in the ground. Now I do have more plants that need to get in the ground, so we're not going to look at the greenhouse right now. We're just going to walk on past that because there are a big flat of marigolds in there and a bunch of other plants that need to get in the ground. But other than that, feeling pretty good about where everything is. Wow, Gus. And yeah, I guess we're ready for summer. We're ready for the heat. And I hope that you all are having a really fantastic weekend. I don't know if it's hot where you are, but I assume it is. I think the whole world is going to be hot. So just try to stay cool and enjoy your garden, and I will talk to you all next week. Oh no, you can see the greenhouse in the back. Let's go with that background. Okay. Have fun, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.